those tribal alignment. For example, come 2027, you'll see all these politicians going back to their tribal cocoons. You'll discover that Luyas want to have their own coalition. Kikuyus are going to get their own, Kambas are going to back their own person, and Kalenjins or whatever, they're going to back their own person. Then from there, they'll come and form a coalition. If you look at all these young men, they have very good ideas. They are really fighting, like Edwin Sifuna. He's really been fighting for the common person. In fact, he's been the only voice of reason in ODM. And people are urging him to move away from ODM so that he can join other like-minded people. But you see, the problem is, these other young Turks, we will call them young Turks, they may not have that financial ability to move around and to create that third force until they align themselves with these big wigs. I get that. For example, like now in Western Kenya, we are having that realignment. They have realized that without having one voice, you'll not be able to get anywhere. So if Edwin Sifuna wants to get somewhere, let him also realign himself with these big wigs, Kina Natembeya and the rest. I get it, who have that. Then if you look at Babu, he's the only, like if you look at Luo Nyanza, if they are regarding him as a rebel because they are not backing what Raila Amolo Odinga is doing. And him, if you look at his kind of politics, he's been targeting young men. So Babu, has very good ideas, but he lacks the support. Because if you look at all those politicians from the Luo Nyanza, they have abandoned him. He's a lone voice. If you look at politicians in ODM, they have abandoned Raila, they have abandoned Babu, they have abandoned Edwin Sifuna. Why? Because of their stance. They are the people who are now able to criticize William Ruto and call the government to order. So for them to succeed, they need to realign themselves with some other group that has similar ideas. Once they do that, they'll be able to push forward. But without realigning with some other groups, it may not be possible. The reason being, for you to carry out any major political force, you need resources. For example, even if you're going to Nyanza, you need people to arrange for you. You need to move around and what have you. They may not have that resources, because if you look at most of them, they're very clean. They have not been involved in any scandals. But if you look at those people who are able to manipulate and do it, they have all been involved in big scandals with money and what have you. So they still have a long order unless they realign themselves with the other opposition leaders.
So you don't see them sustaining this?
They can't sustain unless they can't sustain on their own. You see, the problem with politics in Kenya is one. People need money. You see, a poor person cannot campaign in Kenya and win. For example, for you to win a governor seat, they say you need about 300 million. For you to win an MP seat, you need about 75 million or whatever. This common manager who is now crying, for him to vote for you, you need to give him money. So we have a big problem in Kenya. We need to go back to the drawing board and say, where did the rain start beating us? Because initially, people used to vote without any money. But right now, move around to any constituency. If you don't have money, nobody will listen to you. If you have the money, that's why you are seeing this economic empowerment. They're always full.
But probably you're just looking at this politics from a prism of our history, that this is what has been happening in previous elections. But between 2022 and